Today, a shocking piece of news has emerged in world politics. NATO, which was created and funded by the United States, is now standing against the same US. This move has not only shocked Washington, but also media outlets around the world. Until now, no one dared to raise their voice against the US, considered a superpower. But today, NATO's resolution has caused a direct shock to the United States. Political circles are calling this not an ordinary decision, but the biggest political uprising of the 21st century. For the US, this is a severe blow. For India, it is a historic victory that has changed the global balance of power. The time has come to understand the true politics of the world. The true face of America is now being brought to light. Watch this video till the end, because every moment will shock you. If you want the voice of India to resonate loudly throughout the world, subscribe to the channel immediately. Also, press the bell icon so that every major news story reaches you first. Just think about it. The US, which had kept NATO in its pocket until now, has been humiliated by the same NATO today. NATO has openly insulted President Trump. The new bill that the US is currently pushing forward is named the Sanctioning Russia Act of 2025. It openly announces fundamental changes, stating that NATO and other allied countries should no longer tacitly support the US's unilateral sanctions and high tariff wars. This has caused a huge stir in Washington, with a shockwave spreading from the White House to the Pentagon. The greatest weapon of the United States, its power of pressure, has completely collapsed today. Now, the question arises in the media. Is America's power coming to an end? For many years, the United States was a key leader of NATO, giving commands with authority. But in the current situation, NATO member countries have reached a point where they are openly speaking out with disappointment, opposition, and harsh words, stating that they can no longer tolerate America's aggressive and one-sided policies. NATO's statement openly says that injustices against India and countries like India can no longer be tolerated. These are not just words. It is a blow that will shatter America's superpower image. In reality, this incident was brought to light by India. The United States had been continuously pressuring India with tariffs and trying to intimidate it. But this time, America's gamble completely failed. Out of the 32 NATO countries, about 28 countries supported India and opposed the US. This is a great diplomatic victory for India, and at the same time, a huge defeat for the United States. The US believed that its member countries would stand with it. But on the contrary, major European Union countries like Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and Turkey openly stood on India's side. Seeing all this, the US started to sweat. Therefore, the question arises, why did NATO suddenly change its mind? What is the reason for the sudden rebellion of countries that had been listening to the US for decades? The real reason is that the world power is shifting. The balance of power in the world is now moving away from the United States and leaning towards India. India is no longer just a power in Asia. It is becoming the center of the entire world. India's economy is growing rapidly. The Indian military is respected as one of the world's largest forces. Its technology and weapon capabilities are advancing India on the path of self-reliance. Most importantly, India's democratic principles have had an influence around the world. This is the reason. Today, even the big countries of NATO are ready to support India. Friends, this is not ordinary news. It is seen as a major turning point in history. The US, which created NATO, is being humiliated by the same NATO today. When Iraq was attacked, when war was waged in Afghanistan, and when Libya was destroyed, every time NATO countries lined up according to America's orders. But today, the situation has changed. Now, NATO has openly declared that we are not America's slaves. The tricks the US tried to suppress India will no longer work. This incident has proven that there is no way to suppress India, but the US could not even understand when and how this change happened. The US hoped to bring NATO member countries together and pass a tariff against India. But when the voting began, about 22 countries walked out. The remaining countries also openly opposed the US. The US has not yet recovered from this shock. That is why questions have been raised in the American media whether the title of superpower is now being taken away from the US. The truth is, today the US is completely isolated. Many countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America are moving away from the US and towards India. These countries, tired of America's tyranny, are openly saying that if they continue with this, their economies will be destroyed. That is what is causing the US to destroy itself today. These countries have decided to support India. Because of this, the US is deeply saddened. Statements from the White House declare that NATO's decision is invalid. The Pentagon issues threats, but the world is laughing today because the US, which has always broken the rules, is now pleading for rules. This is a huge humiliation for America. On the other hand, this incident has had a very positive impact on India. India's image has been further strengthened. India is moving fast on the path to becoming a global leader. India is now taking into account not only its own economic growth, but also the business interests of other countries. This is the reason why NATO member countries are also ready to support India. In conclusion, it is clear that America's reign is coming to an end. The US, which controlled the world with the power of the dollar, stands alone today. On the other hand, India is strengthening BRICS by joining hands with countries like Russia, China, Brazil, and South Africa. This new alliance has had a huge impact, enough to disturb America's sleep. Friends, this is not an ordinary bill. It is a severe blow to American politics. The power of the US, which had suppressed the world for decades, is slowly declining today. The biggest proof of this is NATO's recent decision. America will be recorded as a superpower in history, but its bullying policies are no longer accepted by the world. The world has rejected it. Do you know who created this situation? It is India. India's strength, India's policies, and its growing status have prompted NATO countries to stand against the United States. Today, India is ready to lead not only Asia, but the entire world. This is not just news. It is a turning point in history that will change world politics. This is the most severe response NATO has given to America's arrogant bullying. NATO was created by the US, but today, the same NATO is showing the US its place. This is not a small blow. America's image as a thousands of years old superpower is now crumbling. For the first time, the world has rejected America in the name of India. This is not just a victory for India, but a victory for all the countries that have been victims of America's oppressive policies. Today, India, which once led the non-aligned movement, is again at the forefront of world politics. Peace, development, and democracy. These are the flags that India has raised. Friends, it is now clear that tomorrow belongs to India. The sun of America has set. A new morning has begun for India. This is the victory of India's economic power. It is the victory of India's democratic thinking, and it is the victory of the hard work of 1.4 billion Indian people. NATO, which once went to war on a phone call from the US, is today stopping America itself in the name of India. This is not just NATO politics. This is the beginning of a new era for the world, an era where India will be the center, an era that will give peace, development, and stability to the world. No matter how much America threatens and how much it shouts, the truth remains one. America's power is broken. India's era has begun.